Hey, Tony.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm wondering if it's just going to be you and me today.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
And that's okay. I don't mind teaching a class for one. It's an easy way to guarantee you get all your questions answered.
Absolutely.
So I'll wait just a few more seconds, give everybody a chance to join in that wants to.
Okay.
But whether they join or not, we're going to run through it. And if we don't have a lot of questions, we might even finish a little early. We'll see how it goes. So, Tony, do you have any listings coming up?
Only that one, I'm just waiting to see if she can get qualified.
Okay.
And I could have another one, but I can't sell in Mississippi.
But you can refer to Mississippi and take a referral commission.
I can. They're working with their previous agent where they bought us. So apparently she's with Keller as well, and apparently she's familiar with Command because they were talking about they get cards and different things at different times of the year. So they were like, yeah, we're gonna call her again. She talks to us and sends us stuff.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, today's class is I have a listing, now what? And where we're picking up, this is part of our seller series that I've been working on. And where we're picking up is you just finished at the listing appointment and your client signed the listing documents. Okay. So they just signed everything. What do I do now? Okay. And part of that's going to be dependent on whether it's a coming soon listing or it's an active listing. Okay. So I met with you today, Tony, and we're going to go active in 2 weeks because you need to do a little bit of cleaning. You've got a couple of repairs to be made. You know, that's going to be our coming soon. Everything's ready to go. We're ready to put a sign in the yard, put a lockbox on the door. We're going to be active tomorrow. Okay. Or really and truly active today as soon as you've signed it. But one of the things you need to make sure is that if it's going to be a coming soon listing, that was on your paperwork. Okay. If it is a coming soon, you got to have that coming soon special stipulation on your listing agreement, the exclusive seller brokerage agreement. Okay. is what the new name for that document is. So you want to put that coming soon statement on there that reminds your client that they can't show the house, you can't show the house during the coming soon period. Okay, another agent can't show it, you can't, nobody can show the house. Okay, we can do everything else. We can start our marketing, we'll put it in the MLS, we can put our sign in the yard, the lockbox on the door, we can do everything else during coming soon, but can't show it. Okay, so get really familiar with that coming soon special stipulation and the limitations that puts on you. And the reason this is important walking away from it is, you know, if it's going to be a few days till I can get my pictures taken, if it's going to be a few days for the house to be show ready, I may want to plan for coming soon, okay, to buy me that time. Even if I don't put the sign in the yard, don't do anything else, I can at least post it to my Facebook. I can start talking to the office and letting the office know that the listing's coming. But before the coming soon period starts, before that marketing commencement date, you cannot do any marketing at all, cannot put the sign in the yard, can't do anything. So that coming soon period is designed to help you start building some hype and maybe get some of your ducks in a row, but before that listing goes live.
Now, where's the coming soon part on the agreement?
Of the contract,
Yeah, I'm looking at it and I'm like,
let me take you to the coaching resource folder.
Mhm.
And in the coaching resource folder, I have for you a cheat sheet for the exclusive seller listing agreement.
right.
That's not we're a little off topic, but since it's just you and me today, I don't mind sharing this. And if you've got that question, people that are watching the replay of this probably will too. But under the cheat sheets, if you'll go look at the exclusive seller brokerage agreement.
Yep.
Zoom in on this. All right, when we get down to the special stipulations is where that agreement goes in. Okay, so it's right here. Okay,
Okay.
and I put the coming soon special stipulation in here. And it says all parties agree that the property located at 123 Main Street will be advertised as a coming soon listing starting on the marketing commencement date. And I'll show you where that date is on just a second. That's on page 1 of the contract. And will not be shown by the listing agent, seller, or any other agent until the MLS status changes to an active listing. This status will change to an active listing no later than 21 days from the marketing commencement date. That's as long as coming soon can be. In the event the home is shown during the coming soon listing period, seller agrees the listing will be immediately changed from coming soon to active, and seller agrees not to accept any offer for at least 72 hours without first giving notice to all parties who requested showing information during the coming soon listing period to avoid fair housing law violations. Prior to this date, property will be listed as coming soon. On this date, property will be updated in the MLS listing to a active listing. Now, what that marketing commencement date is back on the very first page at the bottom. We have our list price and our listing period. Okay, so we put our price in, we put the day we're entering this agreement. Okay, so that's today. The day we're going to start marketing the property is the marketing commencement date. And that does not matter if we're marketing it coming soon or we're marketing it as active. Okay, any marketing has to happen on that date or later. And the last date's when does the listing agreement expire?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So back to our slideshow. So some of the things that we want to potentially do pre-launch, okay, because coming soon is going to be really common, whether or not we're doing any marketing or not around it. Okay, I may want to start doing some work. You hire me today and we're going to go live on Friday and we're going to go active. Okay, so I've got 2 days. I'm not going to market coming soon during those 2 days, but I need to get my photographer out there. Okay. So whatever photos I'm doing, be it my regular photos, drone photos, 3D photos, video tours, I really want to have those in place before I go live into the MLS.
Right.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. So it's always better to have your really nice pictures up very first thing. And we do live in a visual society. Bad pictures will keep your home from selling because people will just swipe left, right? They'll keep moving. We want to give them a reason to stop. Okay. Some of the other things that I can do and need to think about, is there any staging that the owner needs to do with the property? Any furniture they need to remove, anything like that? Are there any repairs they need to do before we start with our showings? And that can include painting, that can include fixing stuff, that can include pine straw in the flower beds outside. What are all the things we need to do to get the house show ready? Okay. Other things pre-launch, make sure the seller's really clear on what the expectation is going to be for showings. You know, when somebody calls and they want to see the house, what do they do? You know, what's the condition the property should be in? Do they stay at the house? Do they leave the house? What do we do with the dogs? Do we have to put a lockbox out or not? Okay, make sure they understand their role. Make sure they understand what communication it needs to take place. You know, that you're going to call them to coordinate listings with them. You're going to set up showing time so they get to approve or decline the showings themselves. Whatever business model you've decided to follow. Me personally, all showings go through me. Okay, I don't use showing time. I get the showing time notifications and I call my client because I don't want my client to be tempted to hit decline appointment. Right.
You're right.
I want to talk them into accepting that appointment. Okay. Other expectations we may want to discuss is, you know, just reminding them to put their medicines away, put their valuables away, anything so they know what's going to happen during the listing period.
Okay.
Go ahead and set up property alerts for that neighborhood. Because a phone call that I don't ever want to get is from my seller that says, hey, Trey, did you know that the house 3 doors down from mine just went up for sale? Okay. I want to be calling them and saying, hey, Tony, did you know the house 3 doors down from you just went on the market? Here's what that means. Here's how we may need to adjust. Okay. And so setting myself up, I'm not setting it up for the owner to get alerted. I'm setting it up for me to get alerted if anything happens in that neighborhood. Somebody drops a price, somebody goes on the market, somebody goes under contract. I need to know about that because I'm the local expert, right?
Right.
So I'm the one that should know first. Okay.
Right.
If I haven't already, I need to get my sign in my lockbox. Okay. You may already have it. Okay. And like me, I've got several signs and several lock boxes, but I don't always take them to my listing appointment with me. Okay. My plans come back the next day, come back a few days later. That's when the sign's going to go in the yard. Unless we've had conversation and I've got an expectation that we've got a really short time frame and we want to go live tomorrow. Okay, great. When we meet tomorrow, I'll have everything ready. We just need to figure out the price. Okay. So if you don't have a sign already, don't have a design, at least go get it designed and have them on the ready to print you one. Okay. It'll take most sign companies about 2 days to get one to you. Usually what takes more time than anything else is the design and back and forth with the proof. So if we get that part out of the way, then we're good. Add key dates to your calendar. Okay. So what are some of the key dates we may want to put in there? Well, one of those may be, when's our listing agreement up? Okay. When's our go live date? if we're doing a coming soon, when do we have to have it? It'll automatically happen. But I want that reminder that my phone's going to blow up on that day. Okay.
Mhm.
Other reminders is sometimes in our listing agreements, we put in pre-scheduled price adjustments. You know, you're my client, Tony, and we've had a conversation that I've recommended we list the house at 250, and you said, Trey, well, can we list it at 265? And I'm like, well, I don't mind us testing the market at 265, but can we go ahead and agree today, Tony, that if we are not under contract in 3 weeks, we're going to drop the house to 250. And I'll go ahead and write that in the contract when you hire me. I want to remember to go into the system and make that change.
Okay.
Then we want to get our paperwork out of the way. Okay. We need our listing to go live. Okay. And there's 2 people we need to know that we have a listing. Okay. One of those is our compliance department. And so we need to load all of our documents into Command, and we need to submit it to the broker for approval. Okay. Just for us to make sure that you've got a legally binding contract and that we've got all the documents he expects us to have. So what's the broker expect us to have? Well, we need to have the exclusive seller brokerage agreement. We need to have our dual entry form. We need to have the wire fraud form, the water and sewer disclosure, and the marketing disclosure. Okay. And these 2 disclosures are a little bit different than the seller disclosures that we're probably got at our listing appointment. We're not talking your seller's property disclosure and your community association disclosure. Those we're going to handle a little bit differently. And we don't need to put those into Command. Okay. And you'll understand why here in just a second. But the wire fraud form is us making sure our client knows we're never going to send them wiring instructions. The water and sewer disclosure is a protection for us that the seller is assuring us that the house is on sewer or septic, public or private water. Okay. So that we don't misrepresent the property in our marketing. And the marketing disclosures, us disclosing that we have a business relationship with Supreme Lending and O'Kelly and Sorahan. Okay.
Right.
So those are ones that are for our benefit that we're disclosing. The seller disclosures, the seller property disclosure, community association disclosure, those are for the buyer's benefit. Okay. So broker doesn't need to look at those now because they're not complete. Those won't be completed until they're part of a contract. Okay. And that's when we'll use those. So we've let the broker know, here's all our forms, please check them out. Well, we want to get our forms, our listing up in the MLS system. Okay. So we're going to email Miss Ann at annturnier@kw.com. She's the one that inputs all of our listings. Okay. So just because we put something in Command, Miss Ann does not get an alert right now that tells her somebody just uploaded listing documents. Okay. So we've got to email her and say, Miss Ann, please put my listing in the MLS. And the document she needs to know that it's okay for her to move forward is she needs you to email her a copy of the listing agreement. She needs the dual entry form so that she knows what to put in the MLS. And she asks us to send her the description, the public remarks and the private remarks in the email itself. Okay. Because she can't copy and paste it from the form into the system. She can copy and paste from the email though. So while you've got it on your form, on your dual entry form, she wants it in the body of the email as well to make it easy for her to get your listing up quickly. And if you get it in by noon, it will definitely go up the same day. Okay. Even if it goes in afternoon, it might go in the same day. if she has time and she has capacity, but she will stay however long she needs to get every listing in that's turned in by 12 o'clock.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will go in first thing the next morning. All right.
Okay.
So now broker knows we've got our contract. We have our listing up in the MLS. What do we do next? Well, oh, little side note before we move on. The property must be in the MLS within 24 hours of the marketing commencement date, even on coming soon listings. Okay, so keep that in mind. So we're going to market it as a coming soon listing, and I've got 2 weeks. Well, does it really matter if I go ahead and put it in the MLS? It's just a coming soon. Yes, our contract with the MLS says it will be in the MLS within 24 hours, but it will be marketed in the MLS as a coming soon listing. Okay, so we have to get our paperwork in. Now, in a coming soon, we don't have to have our pictures in there until the marketing commencement date. So we can go ahead and get it all turned in and set up, okay, and still deal with our pictures later. But the MLS, they want that data, okay? So the next thing we want to do is we want to launch our marketing. This is us delivering on our promise to our client, okay? And the thing that you want to make sure you do is everything you said you were going to do in your listing presentation, you do all of it, okay? You can do more, but at least do the stuff that you said you're going to do. And it's going to start with making sure Miss Ann puts your information in correctly, okay? Miss Ann is human, okay? Very efficient human. She works like a robot, but she does make mistakes from time to time. So you need to make sure that everything got input correctly, okay? And then we need to load our photos to Georgia MLS, FMLS, and optionally KWLS, okay? KWLS is our listing service. It's the Keller Williams listing service where we push your listing and its information out to over 200 different websites, okay? Now, within a day of it going live in Georgia MLS or FMLS, KWLS will import all of that information and then we'll push it all out, okay? So your listing will make it to all 200 of those websites, whether you do anything extra or not, okay? But one of the things that's unique about KWLS is we don't put a restriction on you as to how many pictures you have or how long your descriptions are, okay? We also don't put restrictions on you on whether you can brand your pictures or not. So you want to put your face on the picture on your listing, you can do that. You can't do that in the MLS, okay? So you may want to put pictures up on KWLS yourself with your branding on it, okay? That way, when it appears on Zillow and Trulia and all those other places, your name's going to be right there with it. Okay. Go ahead and load your seller disclosures to Georgia MLS and FMLS. Now, these are the disclosures that the buyers want to see. Okay. And there's potentially 4 disclosures that you would be uploading. And that's going to be the seller's property disclosure. Okay. And that can also be the seller's disclosure of latent defects. Okay, both of those are a seller's property disclosure. Okay, the second one is the community association disclosure. Third one's the lead-based paint disclosure. And the fourth one is the DeKalb County water and plumbing disclosure. Okay, we only need the community association disclosure if it's in an HOA community. We only need the lead-based paint disclosure if it was built before 1978 or has a fixture that was built before 1978. And we only need the DeKalb County plumbing disclosure if the property's in unincorporated DeKalb County and was built prior to 1993. Okay. So, but go ahead and load them up. And the reason this is so powerful is one, it's going to save you time. Because as other agents go and show the property and they want to submit offers, they're going to start calling you. Hey, do you have the property disclosure? Do you have the property disclosure? Do you have the property disclosure? I don't want to have that conversation over and over again and need to email it over and over again. If I put it in the listing, well, they can just download it when they're putting their offer together, and then we have a complete offer at that time. And that is particularly true of the lead-based paint disclosure, because you cannot have a binding agreement without a lead-based paint disclosure if one's required. So I always prefer it that if a buyer sends me an offer and we like the offer, I want to just be able to sign it.
Right.
And we're done. We're under contract. But if a lead-based paint disclosure is required and I didn't provide it to them and they send me the offer, well, I've got to send the lead-based paint disclosure to them, get them to sign that before I can accept their offer. And that can delay things. Okay. Next thing in launching it, go ahead and get your sign in the yard and the lockbox on the door. Said sign and lockbox in the yard, but you knew what I meant. So sign in the yard and a lockbox on the door. So that it's ready for showing. Now that your listing is live, and I promise you, in today's market, you potentially will have a showing within an hour of your listing going live.
Wow.
It is competitive right now. And we just had our award ceremony, and that's what a lot of us were talking about is what are we seeing? What are the experiences we're having in the marketplace? We just had somebody in the coaching program that had a listing that in the first 2 days had 19 offers on their property. You know, it's fast. Okay. Next one, go ahead and create property flyers. If that's part of your marketing plan, and that's a really simple, easy one, there's already templates built for you in Command in the design studio. So put those flyers together and then leave some of those in the property that prospective buyers can take them with them. And you may want to go get one of the little things that sticks down in the yard that has the covered flap on it and leave some in there for passer buyers to pick it up. Whether they're interested in the property or not, I don't care. If the neighbors are just curious, what's the home selling for? Please take a flyer. It's got my name and my phone number and my picture on it. It's covered up with my branding. And if they are voluntarily reaching out and taking my branding, I love it. Okay. So take advantage of that opportunity to get your name in front of more people. Okay. Post it to Facebook. Let everybody know that you have a listing. Who do you know that's looking to live in this community? Okay. And remember, it's not about you. Okay. It will get inferred. People will associate you with the listing, but make it about the listing, making about it getting sold. It's not, hey, look, I listed another house. Okay. You're trying to find a buyer for the house. So just make sure your messaging is on point there, and you're being professional, but get it into Facebook, because you're connected with more people through Facebook than probably any other forum. And you want them seeing you doing real estate stuff. Okay. And having a listing means you've got a story to tell. It's an easy button when it comes to marketing. Okay. Take advantage of that. Email your whole database. Okay. That's another easy touch. You're not calling them to ask them to buy something, sell something. You're not asking anything of them. You're just sharing information. Hey, our team just listed this property today. If you've got somebody that's interested in this area, you know, would love to get connected with them and see if it's the right property for them. Super simple message, right? But what does that do with the people that are in your database? It ties you to real estate one more time. It starts building that association. You know, Tony's in real estate. Real estate is Tony. Okay. All right, some other things. So those are the bare minimum. I would do that on every single listing. Okay. But there's some other things that you may want to make part of your marketing plan. may be part of your marketing plan, but we want to consider. So one of those is branding your pictures. Okay. And well, since I've already got it open, in the coaching resource folder, in the Michael Lewis Marketing Suite folder, I've got some really nice property tags in here that you can go in and edit this. But do you see how nice that looks?
Mhm.
You know, putting that tag on your photo. Okay. That's really nice. And then you set that up, you create your banner, then it's really easy for you to put a picture in and overlay it with your banner. Then you can use that on your Facebook page. You can use that in any of your other marketing. You can put that on KWLS, where that gets pushed out to all those other websites. Okay. And you just edit that how you see fit. Okay. But that gives you an idea of what a nice property tag looks like. All right, next thing, create a property landing page. Okay. Command gives you the ability to create a one-page website that's just about that one property. Okay. So learn how to create landing pages and learn how to make a single page landing page that you can then market. You know, for more information about this property, click here. You know, that gets them over to your page. And then you've got a capture in there so that if they want more information, they just put their name, their phone number, their email, and bam, they're dropped into your command. Okay. That's easy to add to your Facebook, easy for you to add to any of your social media, easy to add to your database for your clients to share. Okay. Something else, run Facebook ads. You know, the most effective Facebook ads through the Facebook Lead Accelerator and Command are our listing ads. So the fact that you have a listing and it's your listing, not somebody else's in the office, take advantage of that. Maximize your opportunity to get your face in front of some new people. Schedule your open house. If you're going to host an open house, immediately after the listing is when to do it, because how long are properties lasting on the market right now?
Not very long at all.
Not very long at all. So, you know, I listed on a Tuesday and I'm like, well, I'm not going to host an open house this weekend. I'll do one next weekend. Odds are it's going to be under contract that following weekend. And you've missed your opportunity to maximize the buyer leads and seller leads you get from having that listing. Okay. Send out just listed postcards. And that's not something you would necessarily want to do on every single listing. But if it's in a neighborhood where you're interested in getting more business, send it out to that neighborhood. Let the neighbors know, remind them that I'm the one that listed that house for sale. Okay. See what other business can come out of that. Don't forget, as far as hosting your open house, you can do that virtually or in person. Okay. And if I'm going to host a virtual open house, does it really matter what time I do it? Does it have to be from 2 to 4 on a Saturday? No, it can really be any time because people can come back and visit it later. Now, the idea is buying a virtual open house is I'm trying to build engagement. So I prefer to do it at times when people are available to engage with me, ask questions. We can message back and forth through Facebook, but it doesn't have to be. Okay. Treat it more like a virtual tour in that way. Go knock the neighbors. Go meet the neighbors. Having a listing gives you carte blanche to have a really simple conversation with them. You know, hey, don't know if you noticed or not, but I just listed a house down the street from you. I'm not sure, but you know, very often people like to pick their own neighbors, and thought you may know somebody that's looking to move into this neighborhood. You know, is there anybody that you could connect me with that might be interested in this listing? You know, No? Fantastic. Well, have a great day. Here's my information. It's an easy icebreaker. You've got a reason for knocking that door. See, voice pad. And we don't talk about it a lot, but it is a piece of technology that we have and that you guys are welcome to use. And you've seen it before. You just didn't know that you've seen it before. On the top of the signs, where you've seen for more information about this property, call 1-800 and put in this code. Okay. We have all the technology on the background for that. Okay. You just have to go buy the little 6-inch rider that goes up with the phone number. Get with Emily with Agent Services, and she'll assign you a phone number and codes so you can go have your banner made. But then you can put that on your sign. People are able to call in and it will play for them the description of the property from the MLS. Okay, it's a recorded message. 123 Main Street is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, this many square feet. This charming ranch home in Snowville, Georgia is blah, blah, blah. It will read that information to them. And then at the end of the message, it will give them the option. If you'd like to be connected with a listing agent, please press 1. Okay. And it will dial directly to your phone and you can engage in a conversation. Regardless of whether they want to connect with you or not, if they call that number and put that code in, it captures which property they called about and their phone number. So you can follow up with them and say, hi, this is Trey with Keller Williams. You called about 123 Main Street. I just wanted to follow up with you, see if you got all your questions answered. Hey, yeah, we were just curious what the house was selling for. Were you currently looking to buy a home? Was that the reason you're? No. We're one of the neighbors. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, were you curious about the price because you were thinking about selling sometime in the near future? It gives you another opportunity to connect with somebody. Okay. So good stuff there. Not a lot of time to do this in today's market, but I wanted to include some stuff that will change as markets change. One of the things that used to be really popular were agent caravans. Okay. That you would go find 5 or 6 other listings in your area and you would coordinate with those agents and you would market to all the agents, come take a look at these 5 properties. And people would all jump in the car together and they would go tour all 5 of those homes to get to know the market a little bit better. It's kind of an open house for real estate agents. Okay. So that's still out there, it's still available, but in today's hot market, it hasn't been necessary.
Right.
Before we could get an agent caravan put together, the house is under contract. So, yeah. But that is something that will come back again in the future. Okay. So at this point, we've got all of our marketing out there. We've got it in place. You may have some other ideas and some other things that you want to add that are unique to you. And I encourage you to embrace that because there is, it's been said there's no such thing as bad marketing, right? You just want your name out there. And that's kind of true about the house. You want to get that house out there everywhere you can, and you want your branding attached to it. But now that marketing is out there, your number one job, answer your phone.
Right.
So, and I cannot stress this enough. One of the biggest complaints about real estate agents, even from other real estate agents, is they never answer their phone. So I just want to encourage you, don't be that agent, answer your phone, be responsive. You never know that next phone call could be a $7,000 call in your pocket. Okay. Right. And you've got to think about it that way. Well, I don't call anybody if they're not in my contacts. I don't answer the phone if I think it might be a scam call or a spam call. Answer every phone call. Those are opportunities. There's a person on the other end. Okay. Engage with them, find out how can you help them. That's how you're going to build your business. So more than likely though, if your listing just went live, it's another agent calling, and they may have questions about the property. They may have the perfect client for you, and they're trying to figure out, hey, we just happen to be in the neighborhood. Could we come by and see the property in 15 minutes? I don't want to miss that opportunity for my client. Okay. And the only way I'm not going to do that is by answering my phone. I've got to answer the phone.
Mhm.
All right. So communicate regularly. Now the house is on the market. We're starting to get phone calls. We're starting to get showings. Okay. What does that look like? Well, you're going to get the phone calls, or you're going to get the showing time request asking, can we come see the property tomorrow at 2 o'clock? Okay. You need to coordinate with the seller, and they need to be looking for your call, ready for your call. And I don't care if it's through text, if it's a phone call, however you guys have worked out, but we want to get their approval and let them know we've got showings at this time. Okay. And prepare them today that these are not going to be infrequent. You know, we may list today and have 12 showings tomorrow. So
Right.
don't necessarily think I'm just going to leave the house for an hour. Okay. There may be hours of time that we're going to ask you to leave the property. Okay. So that multiple buyers can come through. All right. So we're going to coordinate the showings with the seller. Everybody that comes to the property, we want to ask for feedback from them. Showing time makes it really easy to do that, and you can set it up so that that automatically happens. But if you don't get it, call and ask for it, especially if you have a problem property. Okay. You had a client that has a purple bedroom with pink polka dots, and you've told them you really need to paint that bedroom, right? Well, it's really nice if every time I get feedback, they're like, you've got to do something about that purple bedroom. You've got to do something about that purple bedroom. The buyer liked everything except the purple bedroom. Now, Trey's not telling them the purple bedroom sucks, right? They're hearing it from the public. Maybe we can finally get that painted. And there may be something that you overlooked. Okay. We may have been too ambitious in our pricing and priced it too high. Could be an issue with the property that we didn't even think about, or didn't notice. You know, that the buyer really liked the house, but the pit bull in the backyard next door made him nervous. Oh, I didn't even notice that. I didn't realize that. Is that a potential problem? Well, if I hear that 2 or 3 times, we may need to address that, right? We may have to have a solution for that. But I don't get that if I don't get that feedback. And then share that feedback with your seller. Notify the seller of any offers that you get. Okay.
Mhm.
And this is going to get reiterated again on the next slide, I think. But you are required, okay, to notify the seller all offers. You have to present them, whether they're verbal on a napkin, whether they're written well or not. I don't care if the listing is $300,000 and you get an offer for 75 cents. You have to present that offer to the seller. Okay. So we're going to present it. And this is not today's class is not on negotiations. We're going to have another class that next time is going to be, what do I do once I start getting offers? How do we negotiate? What are the options? But today is everything up to that. So we definitely want to talk with our sellers and update them at a minimum every week. Okay. And my recommendation is twice weekly at a minimum. Okay. And the 2 days that I like to talk to my clients are Mondays and Thursdays. On Mondays, I'm giving them an update of all the activity we had through the week, through the weekend. Okay. Because generally speaking, in a normal market, most of our showings are going to be on the weekend. And then on Thursdays, we're talking about being prepared for the upcoming weekend. Are there any things that we need to do with the pricing? Are there any feedback that we receive that we need to get corrected before we get to the next weekend? and what's our plan looking forward. We're going to talk about pricing every other week. Okay. And the reason we talk about it every other week, Gary has said for years and years and years that as a rule of thumb, if you go 10 days without a showing or have 10 showings without an offer, your price is too high. Okay.
Okay.
That's in a normal market. And so you can imagine in an abbreviated market, we might even have to move a little bit faster than that. But that's still a really good rule of thumb to go by, because nobody comes and sees it in 10 days. The market's telling us we're not interested in your property at that price. If you have 10 people come look at the house that thought it was a house that was a good fit for them, they saw something in the house that they didn't like, they didn't want at that price. Okay. So if we do make a price adjustment, we need to update it in our paperwork and update it in Georgia MLS and FMLS. And the form that you'll use is called a Georgia MLS status change form. Okay. That's not a GAR form. That is in the required office forms in the coaching resource folder. And it's a very simple form. All you're gonna have to put in there is which property are we talking about, what's the new price, and have your client sign it. And that's our written approval to reduce the price. Okay. And then once we've done that, update Georgia MLS and FMLS. Okay. And you'll go in and make those updates yourself.
Okay.
Okay. And if you need help with that, I'm just a phone call away. So we start getting offers. Now, how are offers going to come to us? Well, we may get some phone offers, where, hey, I'm an investor, I'm a cash buyer. Would your client take $230 for that house? Okay. That's still an offer. There's no contingency, there's no seller's contributions to closing, there's no closing attorney, there's no discussion of earnest money, but that is an offer. And I need to make sure to share that with my client. Okay. But most of my offers are going to come through my email. Okay. And you need to pay really close attention. Some agents are going to send it through their signing platform, and it's not going to look like an offer. It's going to say, Tony Shiver shared a document for you to review. That does not excite me. It blends in with every other one that I get. Okay. And that's the reason I don't recommend that you do that. So, because it could be coming from DocuSign, could be coming from AccuSign.loop, DocuSign, Transaction Desk, Remine. There's lots of e-signature programs out there, and each of those sends their emails a little bit differently. And then when I want to go look at the documents, I've got to go through their platform. I have to click a link that then takes me to their website for me to figure out how do I download that document to send it to my client. And me as a buyer's agent, I don't like having to figure out your email signature system. Okay. But I have to do it. And when I'm the selling agent, I've got to figure that out. What my preference is when I'm the listing agent is I want you to send me a PDF. I don't care what e-signature platform I use. I deal with PDFs all day long. I know how a PDF works attached to an email. And you send me a PDF, I can click it and open it instantaneously. And I know exactly what I'm looking at. So that's my recommendation when you're on the buying side. Send it as a PDF. I'm just warning you, you've got to be diligent looking at your email. And if you're like me, I get over 100 emails a day. And so it's really easy if I'm not policing my email for potentially an offer to get missed. Okay. Don't let that happen. you may have missed a better offer for your client. You may have missed an optimal offer by not doing that. So recommend when you do get that offer though, whatever format you get it in, at least respond to the other agent and be professional, be courteous, and let them know, thank you for the offer. I'll be presenting it to the seller and we'll get back with you with if they're interested in moving forward.
Mhm.
I'm going to notify them of every single offer. My client told you it was again on the next slide. And then I'm going to review the offers with the seller and decide how we're going to respond. So we're like I said, we're not going to go into detail on how do you respond, how do you do counter offers, should you accept an offer or not. We're going to cover that in another class, but I wanted you to know that that's where we're at in this transaction, right? We've now we're got our marketing in place. We've got our showings going on. The next place we're headed to is negotiations. Okay. And that's where we're going to leave off today. So a couple of pro tips, some things you might not have thought of. Yes, you can work with unrepresented buyers. Okay. It's your listing and you have a client relationship with your seller, but you can work with a buyer. You just cannot work with them as a client. You have to work with them as a customer. And the way that a buyer hires us as a customer is they sign an authorization to work with buyer as customer form. Okay, that is a GAR form. But before I have them sign it, I want to make sure I've had a really good conversation with that prospective buyer and they understand the difference between a client and a customer. And if they want a client relationship, they want a fiduciary and they don't want a customer relationship, well, then I want to be the one to refer them to somebody so I can get a referral commission. Okay. Not just, we'll go find an agent and then come back and make an offer. No, I want to grab them with both hands and pull them in and try and help them. And understand there's different ways that you can do this. If an unrepresented buyer wants to see the house, okay, do I need to get them to sign a brokerage agreement just to come and look at the house?
Not as a customer.
Not as a customer or a client. I mean, they're not even, they're neither to me right now. They saw my sign in the yard. They were out driving around. They showed up to my open house, okay, and they want to see the property. Doesn't matter. The point that I'm getting at, Tony, is before I have a conversation with them about customer or client, I want to find out, are they interested in that house?
Right.
So you call me, you're like, Trey, hey, I saw your sign on this house, or I saw this on Zillow. However they got connected, somebody forwarded me your post on Facebook. That looks like it might be the right house for us. Can I come see it? Yes. Okay. I want to show them that property. I don't need a buyer's brokerage agreement. I don't need an authorization to work with buyer as a customer yet. Okay. Because if I have that conversation about client versus customer now, and they choose client, they want a client relationship, and I refer them to somebody else in the office, I send them to Vance or to Susan or whomever, okay? And they decide that's not the right house for them, how do I get them back? I don't. Right? So I want to find out, let's take a look at the house. Tony, man, sorry this one isn't the right house for you, but hey, listen, I would love the opportunity to work with you. I'd love to help you find the right house since this isn't the right house. When can we sit down together and talk about exactly what you're looking for and talk about what working together would look like? Could I possibly come by and sit down with you tomorrow? Could you come to my office and meet me on Friday? Okay.
Mhm.
Whatever the case is. Because, what are the odds that that house is going to be the house?
Right.
Very likely it's not. Okay. So I want to keep that door open, that I want to build and cultivate a relationship with them and win them as a client, even though it's not going to be for that property. Okay. But they come and they see that property and they're like, oh my gosh, Trey, we love this house. We want to put in an offer. What do we do next? Okay. Now I'm going to have the client and customer conversation with them.
Right.
And if they want that client relationship, I'm going to connect them with somebody in my office that I know that will pay me a referral fee and will take very good care of them the same way I would. That makes sense?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Remember, your goal is to get the home sold. Okay. That's what you've been hired to do. Okay. Your objective is to get your client to their objective. Okay. And there's going to be things that you're going to need to do that aren't going to be fun. They're not going to be convenient, but they are your job. Okay. Give you an example. Hey, Trey, we're at your property. We had a 3 o'clock appointment scheduled. There's no key in the lockbox. I think the last agent must have took it with them, must have put it in their pocket. The right answer is not, you know what, I'm really sorry about that. Let me see if I can get it figured out. And maybe you can come back and see the property tomorrow or the next day. Right? I need a solution for right now, and I need to drop whatever I'm doing and get that figured out. A buyer calls and they want to know that their agent is busy and can't show the property. Could I show the property? Okay. Absolutely I can, but let me have a conversation with your agent first so that they understand that I'm respecting their relationship with you. Okay. Or another agent calls and says, hey, my client really is interested in your house, but I'm at a closing. I can't get there and show it. Is there any way you could let them in? We don't adopt that mentality. That's not my job. That's your job, right? Our job is to get the house sold. We've got a buyer that wants to buy it. We need to do whatever we need to do to facilitate and make that happen. That's how we take care of our client. So be prepared to say yes, even though sometimes it's not going to feel real good. Make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Lastly, know and remember the seller's motivation. Okay. I think this may be my last one. May have a couple more. There's going to be times where your seller may be reluctant to move forward. Okay. There may be times when your seller doesn't want to accept an appointment. And we need to talk them into sticking with the plan, taking the next step. Okay. And it's not talking them into that. That was a terrible choice of words. We're not talking them into doing something that's not in their best interest. We're reminding them about what's really important and why it's important they take that next step. Okay. And if it's just if it's about the buyer, if it's about us and our schedule, it's completely meaningless, right? It's got to be about their motivation. Why is it important to them? That's how we get them to take those extra steps. Okay. That's how we keep them engaged. So that's going to happen over and over again. So make sure you know it. Okay. And keep it at the front of your mind so that you can pull that back out whenever you need to help that seller get the right perspective again. Okay. Keep your commitments. So you told your seller that you were going to have the listing up in the MLS on Friday, make sure you have it up in the MLS on Friday. You told them you were going to send out postcards in the neighborhood. Make sure you send out postcards in the neighborhood. Whatever it is you told them you were going to do. You said, I'm going to call you every Thursday and Monday. Call them every Thursday, call them every Monday. Okay. They will remember that. And it's a reflection on your character and will make a difference in the amount of referrals you get.
Okay.
This is the last one. Adjust your plan based on your farm. Okay. So as we look back and we think about our marketing plan, okay, how I handle things and whether I do certain things will be different based on if it's where I'm trying to grow my business. So for example, I live in Lilburn, offices in Snellville. My main area is the area in between us. Okay. So as I'm trying to grow my business, okay, and I'm not trying to grow my business, I'm just using it as an example. As I'm trying to grow my real estate business, I want more customers in Lilburn, okay? But I may take a listing in Decula, okay? Am I gonna send out just listed postcards to the neighborhood in Decula?
Probably not, just because
That's not where I'm trying to build my business. I would rather take that same money and send another postcard to the people in my neighborhood, reminding that I'm here and I can help them, and maybe giving them a market update, maybe providing them some other valuable piece of information rather than go chase something over in Decula. Okay. Open houses. Okay. If I've got a listing in Lilburn, you better believe I'm the one hosting the open house because I am the king of real estate in Lilburn, right? But I've got an open house or a listing in Decula. Open houses are still good. You know, my client is interested in an open house. I want to have an open house. I told them I was going to have an open house in my listing presentation. Do I have to be the one to host the open house?
Nope.
No. I go find a new agent that's looking to grow their business in Decula, let them host the open house. So I just encourage you, as you look through the different options and things we talked about, for each listing, ask yourself, is this going to help me grow the business I want to have? And what adjustment do I maybe need to make based on where that location is? Okay. And are there some listings we don't want to take? You know, yeah, I can't service a listing up in Smyrna or Marietta or Douglasville or Locust Grove. That's just too far for me to do a good service to that seller and be available. You may be in a position where you can take one that far away. I don't know, but don't be afraid to refer business away if it's going to help you focus on building the business you really want to have. Okay, you're still going to get paid. You're not going to get paid the same amount, but how many hours is it going to take you to service that listing? You know, might not be worth it. Right. And last thing, listers last. Okay, we want you to be focused on sellers. We want you to find sellers. If you can find sellers, you control the market, you control your income, you have a story to tell, your business will grow going after the sellers. Okay. So don't be afraid to go after the sellers. Buyers are easy to find. They're low hanging fruit. They're fantastic. You do make money on them, but they are more time consuming. You can only service so many of them at a time. Okay. I can typically handle 3 times as many sellers at one time as I can buyers. Okay. So if I want to grow a big, healthy business, I need to get really good at working with sellers. So listers last. And Tony, that is it. Even though it was just you and me, we took up the whole hour, bud.
Yeah, we did. One question.
Yeah.
Back when we talked about the referral commission for and working with a client or a customer.
Yeah.
Let's say they come in, they say they're interested in the house, and you take them on as a customer.
Yep.
But then well, take it back. Let's split it. Let's say they're not necessarily interested in the house and they want to look at others, but you take them on as a client.
Yep.
Then it comes back that they decide they want that house that you've got listed.
Perfect.
So
then I would come back to that conversation. Okay. Hey, Tony, you decided 123 Main Street is the property that you guys are interested in and you want to put an offer in on that. Let's have a conversation. I'm really enjoying working with you and I want to help you in this, but I want you to understand some of the limitations that are on me. I'm already in a client relationship with the seller and I can't be in a client relationship with them and with you in the same transaction. Okay. So, and for you to understand the difference between a client relationship and a customer relationship, as a client relationship, that's when I offer advice. Okay. That's when I get to be your counselor, your coach, your mentor, and advise you on should I do this or shouldn't I do this. Okay. If it's a customer relationship, it's just administrative. I can help you fill out the contracts. I can put in the offers. I can let you know what the next steps are.
Mhm.
But if you come to me and say, Trey, what should we do? I can't answer that question. Okay. So if you're comfortable working with me just being an administrator, I'd love for us to continue to work together and work toward getting this sold. If you need that person that you can go to for advice and they can be a consultant to you, then what I really want to do is you're important to me and I want you comfortable and confident moving through the transaction. I would feel better referring you to somebody that I know and trust that's going to be a good advisor to you. Okay. So in those two scenarios, where do you feel most comfortable? Would you rather me refer you to somebody to be that counselor, or are you okay working with me just as an administrator? And I'm okay either way.
So we can't end the agreement and then.
Well, if it's within our office, we don't even have to end the agreement.
Okay.
Okay. Because who's the agreement with?
Me and the buyer.
Not you.
No, the broker and the buyer.
The broker and the buyer. Okay.
Got it.
So they signed a contract with Keller Williams Realty Atlanta Partners,
Mhm.
right? Both as the buyer and as the seller. You refer them to me. Okay.
Okay.
Now we're going to be designated agency. I don't need a new buyer's brokerage agreement because it's the same broker, right? So we're just going to now be working under designated agency where Tony's representing the seller as a client and Trey's representing the buyer as a client.
Okay.
And Trey's paying Tony a referral fee.
Gotcha. Okay.
Good stuff, bud. Any other questions I can answer for you before I let you go?
No, sir. Everything else was pretty straightforward. So
Good. Was it worth the hour?
it was. It actually was, because it answered a lot of questions for me. Just, okay, I understand how to get the listing with the presentation, but now what do I do next? So
That was the intention for today. Oh man, good talking to you. Call me, text me, email me if anything else comes up, and we'll chat at you very soon.
Will do. Thanks, Trey. Have a good day.
Thanks, Tony. Bye.